We very much appreciate all of you joining us today. On behalf of the Local Public Sector Alliance, I would like to thank today's moderator and panelists for their willingness to be part of today's webinar. With that, let me pass the session to Jens Kristensen, who will moderate today's session. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Seda. Thank you to our panelists, and thank you to everybody who has decided to join us today. Good morning and good afternoon. So I would like to also welcome you to the Knowledge Sharing Week on decentralization in the Middle East and North Africa. And I would like to thank the Local Public Sector Alliance, as well as the Subnational Governance and Decentralization Global Solution Groups of the Governance Social Practice at the World Bank for organizing this event. Today, this is the second webinar on decentralization and inclusive local governance in MENA, looking at reforms and progress. My name is Jens Kristensen. I am the practice manager for MENA governance at the World Bank, covering the 21 countries in the Middle East and North Africa. In addition to working on decentralization in our group, we also do fiduciary assurance of the bank's lending portfolio and work on a broad range of governance challenges. So besides today's webinar, there are two other webinars in the following days analyzing the evolving context of decentralization and localization in the region. In our view, decentralization is quintessentially a cross-cutting public sector governance issue or area, cuts across multiple disciplines, including economics, political science, public administration and management, which is also why we have different parts of the World Bank and different disciplines working on this. And I'm very happy to have our colleagues, Dina, join us here and to congratulate her for the strong collaboration with the different sectors in this region. It is a broad and complex area of public sector reform, and we are working on public financial management, human resource management, procurement, and beyond. While countries tend towards greater decentralization and localization in the long run, the pendulum does not always swing in the same direction. We see centralization being in the vogue, and you see then this decentralization goes back and forth. Knowledge sharing, or this knowledge sharing week, aims to shed light on recent developments in the MENA region, and we are aiming at addressing no less than 5 questions. The first one is what has been going on in terms of decentralization and localization in the MENA, in the Middle East. Second relates to whether progress has been made towards more inclusive and effective decentralization or localization in the different countries. Thirdly, has a degree of decentralization been stagnant, or are countries backsliding? And fourth, what political economy forces have been shaping the progress on decentralization and localization in the region? And as we know, this region is not the most transparent of regions. It's not a region with a strong support for institutional reform. And it is also a region where there is a revealed preference or practice of somewhat top-heavy management and governance in many of the countries. We have capable kingdoms, and we have weaker or different approaches to democratic elections and representation in many of the countries, and that does set a different scene than in many other regions of the world. Then finally, the fifth question, what can development practitioners and scholars and civil society organizations do to encourage evidence-based decentralization and localization reforms for inclusive, effective, and sustainable development in the Middle East? So I hope that the webinar today will shed light on decentralization gains and challenges, and we will focus on Morocco with Abel Bov, and Tunisia, Dina Rana Fidi, and Iraq with Dr. Salah Al-Kim. These countries are the most decentralized countries in the region. And although their strong commitment to decentralization has yielded results, there are concerns by some observers that the future of decentralization in these countries may not be as bright as those who are working on this agenda may hope for. I hope personally that this event is the start of a beautiful friendship, as they say in the movies, but also of establishing strong bonds within the global community of practice on decentralization, again, to achieve our sustainable development. I also hope that we will contribute to strengthening intergovernmental systems, empowering and encouraging local leaders to promote inclusion and equity. And last but not least, I hope that we will contribute to improvement in health and education services, access to clean water, and all the other basic urban services that decentralized, localized governance is put in place to deliver. So I'm looking forward to the discussion. We have 3 very capable speakers, and I'll just briefly introduce them in the order in which they will grace us with sharing their knowledge and insights. First, we have Monsieur Bov, Abel Bov, who is a senior public sector specialist based in Morocco. He is part of the unit which I'm working in. So good to see you, Abel, again. Since joining the World Bank back in 2010, he worked on Central Africa, Cameroon, where I first met Abel, and I remember a lovely grilled fish we had in the market, West Africa, Haiti, and now Morocco. Abel has strong experience on decentralization, governance in sectors, public financial management, both with lending operations funded by the bank and analytical work. Abel holds a MA in Governance and Development from the Institute of Development Studies in the UK and an MA in Asian Affairs from Lyon. And before joining the bank, Abel was a project manager, country director in Aceh after the tsunami there in Indonesia, focusing on community-led development for a French NGO. Dina Rana Rifidi. I do apologize, Dina. I did practice before this session, so my bad. Dina Rana Rifidi is a senior urban development sector specialist in the Urban Resilience and Land Department of the World Bank Group. Her areas of focus include informal settlement, upgrading, urban resilient, and local governance. Dina has worked in the Democratic Republic of Congo, Ghana, Gabon, Senegal, where she led and contributed to various lending instruments, but also technical assistance and analytical work. And then she's moved to the MENA region to lead the urban development and local government programs and decentralization activities in Tunisia. Dina holds a master's degree in development economics from Sciences Po in Paris, and she is a graduate from Paris-Sorbonne University and has no less than a Fulbright scholar at Cornell University. Last but absolutely not least, we have Dr. Salah Al-Kli, who is a non-resident scholar at the Middle East Institute. And if I'm not mistaken, I received invites to a ton of interesting events organized by the Middle East Institute. And though I cannot attend all of them, I really encourage everybody to sign up for that, for those events. They are really, they make me reflect on the goings on in the region and really spans everything from culture and arts to retired generals that lay out the land of security in the Middle East. So Dr. Akli is a non-resident scholar at the Middle East Institute. She served as a Middle East Deputy Regional Director at Mercy Corps and a Principal Development Specialist at DAI Global, and was previously a senior advisor to the Speaker of the Iraqi Parliament, an advisor to the Speaker of the Kurdistan Parliament, a former country director for Counterpart International's Iraq program, and an auditor of the Central Bank of Iraq. So I'm sure Dr. Klee knows everything Iraq, everything there is to know. She's a long-term practitioner in the Middle East on issues of politics, governance, security, state building, and fragile states. Dr. Klee finished her PhD at the Fletcher School of Law and Diplomacy, Tufts University, and her dissertation is about governance and decentralization in Iraq, and that was awarded the Fletcher Peter Ackerman Award for Outstanding Scholarly Work. So overall, we are in very good company.